Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today I will talk about a very shocking and important story. That is, America's #1 news aggregation platform or local news app called Newsbreak was actually founded and is controlled and backed by the CCP. Not only that, this news app uses an advanced technology called interest-based engine to connect your information, including what you like, what you share, what you bookmark, what you like and bookmark but don't share, etc., to decide what to push to you. The same technology has been used in China to help the CCP spread its propaganda effectively and efficiently, and to tell the story in a way that the CCP likes. If you happen to be one of its 45 million active monthly users, you must listen to all what I'm going to say today, as this is related to a very important question: who will own America? Before we move on, I have an announcement today to make. From now on, I will live streaming at the same time every Monday and Thursday, so that it will be easier for you guys to know when to expect a new show. So I will meet you here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday and Thursday. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and turned on the notification bell yet, make sure you do so now. Now, let's go to our story today. First of all, what is Newsbreak? According to its own website, Newsbreak is America's #1 intelligent local news app, and it ranks #1 in both Google Play and Apple Store. An article at protocol.com says Newsbreak has 45 million monthly active users and had 24 million installs via the Apple Store and Google Play in 2020, and was the most downloaded news app of last year. Newsbreak uses interest-based engine to push news to 45 million Americans. Its core technology is an interest-based engine, and the key to its success is an AI-curated, personalized, and localized newsfeed tailored to each user. It is mostly invested in the so-called long-tail needs, which means it caters to various niche interests instead of only a few popular products. Newsbreak's founder Jeff Zeng said to Chinese media that Newsbreak uses recommendation plus search plus subscription plus intelligent interaction to achieve its goal. The content is recommended according to the user's browsing preferences, so that everybody gets different content. Newsbreak gathers information from users' searches, subscriptions, and online interactions to recommend relevant channels and content for users to subscribe to. So this is called interest-based engine. In Jeff Zeng's eyes, content demand can be divided into time-sensitive and non-time-sensitive categories. Non-time-sensitive content can be further subdivided into 3 categories based on 3 kinds of user reactions: click and share, but without a click without sharing or bookmarking, and click without sharing but bookmarking. He said the last category of content that users like to read and are willing to bookmark but are unwilling to share or are not appropriate for sharing is closely related to personal long-tail needs and has greater personal value. For Newsbreak, the last category of content is its main focus. Another selling point of Newsbreak is that it says it focuses on local news, and it is not only a news aggregator, but also a Nextdoor or a Craigslist. It also provides classified information such as local job listings, events, restaurants, deals, and services for specific community. Well, that's a short briefing for those who don't know much about Newsbreak yet. Now, let's go check a little bit of the background of Newsbreak. Who founded it, who controls and runs it, which means who is pushing highly personalized content to 45 million or more Americans. According to publicly available information, Newsbreak is owned by Particle Media. It was established by Jeff Zeng in April 2015 and is the English version of 一点资讯, which is a Chinese news aggregation app in China, which also was founded by Jeff Zeng. According to his LinkedIn page, Jeff Zeng obtained a PhD in computer science at the University of Buffalo after he gained a master's in science degree at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. He gained his Bachelor of Science degree from Tsinghua University in China. He joined Yahoo in 2006 and became the founding head of Yahoo NAP China in 2011. In 2013, he founded 一点资讯, which can be translated as one byte of information, and acted as the CEO. On the brand page of 一点资讯, there used to be such a milestone. The title of this milestone is American company or company in the US. The description is, quote, in April 2015, 一点资讯 established Particle Media, an affiliate company in Silicon Valley, to launch its global strategic deployment, and the English version of 一点资讯, Newsbreak, was recommended by the US App Store twice in a row and has become a popular news aggregation application in the United States, unquote. However, this important milestone was removed after Boston-based The Wild China published an in-depth investigation revealing Newsbreak's deep ties with China. When The Wild China did that report and asked about the relationship between Newsbreak and 一点资讯, Newsbreak said the statement on 一点资讯's website was inaccurate and that its legal department would send a letter asking that it be removed. When I did my follow-up investigation, I found that if I searched with the Chinese characters for in April 2015, 一点资讯 established Particle Media, an affiliate company in Silicon Valley. I could get a lot of results, and as you are seeing now. However, if I clicked on some of the results, I was led to 404 error pages, which means the articles have been removed. But articles on relatively smaller sites can still be found that mentioned 一点资讯 establishing Particle Media in Silicon Valley, such as this one. Could you show the pictures 16 and 17? Yeah, this one published, both of the articles were published by bloggers on Sohu. So I have archived these two articles and will put a link to the archived article to the transcript of this show. If you can check my website at jenniferzengblog.com to get these articles if you are interested. According to a report on one of China's major web protocols, Sina.com, from October 2014 to December 2016, Phoenix New Media acquired a 44.2% stake in Particle Media, a portion which with a fair value of over $135.3 million. Later, it sold out part of its share but still held 3.63% of Particle Media as of 2019. So this is to say, at the beginning stage of Newsbreak's funding, almost half of it was owned by Phoenix New Media. Please note that Particle Media is also the parent company of 一点资讯, and the second largest shareholder of 一点资讯 is Xiaomi, which is China's second largest cell phone maker with military lines. Remember, I did a program about Xiaomi before. If you haven't watched it, go back and take a look so that you can connect all the dots together. Phoenix News Media's parent company is Phoenix TV. Its CEO Liu Shuang was formerly the COO of Phoenix TV and a special assistant to Phoenix TV's founder and former chairman Liu Changle. There's little information available on Particle Media, especially on Chinese website. However, a PDF file of Phoenix News Media's update on the sale of its share in 一点资讯 tells us this. Particle Media was registered in the Cayman Islands on July 23, 2013 as an exempted company, and on July 30, 2013, which is 1 week after its registration, Particle Hong Kong Limited was registered in Hong Kong to complete the shareholding transaction between Particle Media and Phoenix New Media. According to the Wild China, Jeff Zeng founded Particle Media Incorporation in Delaware in 2015 with its company headquarters in Mountain View. Jeff Zeng is also currently a shareholder of 一点资讯 in Beijing. So, did you see the connections? Phoenix Satellite TV Holdings Limited was established on March 31, in 1996 with headquarters in Hong Kong. It was initially a joint venture among Murdoch's News Group, today's China Limited, held by Liu Changle, and China Central TV, CCTV's subsidiary China Wise International Limited. At that time, News Group and today's China both held 45% of Phoenix TV, while China Wise International held 10%. Liu Changle was appointed as the chairman of the board and the CEO. Phoenix TV was the first overseas TV station to be legally allowed to broadcast in China. It was granted landing rights by the National Radio and Television Administration of China in 2003. And Phoenix TV has long since been known as a mouthpiece of the CCP, although its headquarters is in Hong Kong. Its news reporting has always been consistent with the stance of the CCP. Liu Changle once said, "CCTV is the big brother and we are the little brother." A commentator told the Chinese edition of the Epoch Times back in 2005 that when entertaining his guests at a banquet in Shenzhen back in 1998, Liu Changle said that the CCP's Ministry of State Security had given him $2 million for him to set up a television station. Liu Changle was born in Shanghai on November 5, 1951. His father, Liu Xiangyi, was a senior CCP official. Liu joined the People's Liberation Army (PLA) of the CCP around 1970 and served as an official in the political propaganda department of PLA's 4th Group Army in Liaoning Province. From there, he somehow went to study at Beijing Broadcasting Institute, which later became the Communication University of China, and graduated in 1980. I guess it was the CCP army that sent him to study there, because during that time there were no entrance examinations for universities. Students were admitted through a so-called recommendation system. If you behaved well or the CCP liked you, you could go to study in universities via recommendation by your workplace or your local CCP leaders. After graduating from Beijing Broadcasting Institute, Liu Changle joined the Central People's Broadcasting Station, later translated as China National Radio, in 1983, and worked as a reporter, editor, and news commentator. He was then promoted to the rank of senior management and was sent overseas by the CCP in 1988. In June 2006, China Mobile Communication took a 19.9% stake in Phoenix TV, and Liu Changle's Today Asia thus became Phoenix's largest shareholder with a 37.54% stake. And who is behind China Mobile? It is Jiang Mianheng, the eldest son of former CCP leader Jiang Zemin. Jiang Mianheng has been called the king of China Telecom for many years in China. After China Mobile's investment in Phoenix TV, Liu Changle obtained absolute control over Phoenix TV. Phoenix News Media called this acquisition a major breakthrough because before this acquisition, there was another shareholder who held the same amount of stake as Liu Changle. After this acquisition, Liu Changle's company became the largest one. In 2009, late Hong Kong pro-democracy activist Shi Tuhua said that not only the Phoenix TV is a CCP-funded and controlled media, but the main people in charge also have a national security background. Since no one believes what Beijing's CCTV says, they are using Phoenix to suppress dissidents. So when Jeff Zeng was the CEO of Yidian Zhixun, he brought in Phoenix New Media as a shareholder and quickly turned Yidian Zhixun into an official voice of the CCP. According to Sina.com, by the way, you can see that this is also an archived copy of that article. I always archive CCP's articles because if you don't, they can be deleted at any time. Anyway, this article says that the CCP's Internet Information Office, which is in charge of controlling information on China's internet, brought the Internet Information Offices of 31 provinces onto Yidian Zhixun's platform, and this would turn Yidian Zhixun into an all-around publishing platform of the Internet Information Office focused on spreading the spirit of Xi Jinping's speeches and strategic ideas. The article also says that Yidian Zhixun established in-depth partnership with many local governments, including 116 new official media outlets in Xinjiang. In addition, many government and military departments, the Belt and Road Initiative, and more than 8,000 self-publishing media personnel, industrial elites, celebrities, opinion leaders, and entertainment stars all set up accounts on Yidian Zhixun's platform, creating huge attention and rapid growth for Yidian Zhixun. So, 1 year after that article was published in 2017, Yidian Zhixun became one of the top 3 apps in the personalized news industry in China. A 2016 report of the CCP State Council Science website described how Yidian Zhixun used long-tail personalized technology to help the CCP's propaganda and information control efforts in Xinjiang by, quote, enabling the localized and accurate delivery of government information and full coverage of information in Xinjiang, and telling the Xinjiang story well. We talked a little bit about Newsbreaks being the English version of Yidian Zhixun a while ago. Now let me give you some further evidence and how deep the connections are. On April 30th in 2015, the Phonics website published an article with this title, Yidian Zhixun enters the US, founder goes to supervise the battle. The article says, quote, recently, Yidian Zhixun announced the latest progress of its internationalization strategy. The founder will go to the United States to supervise the English market and has recruited more than a dozen senior engineers and scientists in Silicon Valley and will launch the English version of Yidian Zhixun at the end of the second quarter. According to an official statement by Yidian Zhixun, the establishment of its U.S. company is a key step in the globalization of Yidian Zhixun, which will use the world's first interest-based engine to enter the U.S. market and take advantage of the founding team's resources and contacts in the United States to replicate Yidian Zhixun's successful model and become a truly innovative Chinese internet company with global technological influence, unquote. Now, let's check the bigger picture of this matter. At the end of 2015, the CCP proposed to construct a 1+6+N model of international propaganda work. What you are seeing is a very, very long article published at, sorry, you need to get another picture, I think, picture 31. That is a yes, this article. This is a very, very long article published at the CCP's most important mouthpiece, the People's Daily, regarding its strategy and achievement of the CCP's international propaganda campaign in the past 40 years. The title of the article is Linking China and Foreign Countries Communicating with the World, a review of the development of international propaganda in the 40 years of reform and opening up. According to this article, a 1+6+N model was proposed. And what is the 1+6+N model? Another long article published in the Global Media Journal of Tsinghua University gave us some explanation. The title of this article is Three Waves of China's International Communication from 1978 to 2019. Or we can also translate it as Three Waves of China's International Propaganda Campaign. As the CCP's communication is just propaganda, we all know the CCP has a Ministry of Propaganda, right? The CCP itself calls it Ministry of Propaganda, and they don't think there's anything wrong with the world propaganda or what lies behind the world propaganda. The propaganda, they are the things the CCP must do to brainwash people. Anyway, the article says on February 17, 2016, Xi Jinping first proposed building a flagship international communication media with Chinese characteristics, with the establishment of China Global TV Network, CGTN, in December 2016, it then became clear that the rule of 1 should be filled by CGTN. 6 refers to the CCP's 6 major mouthpieces, including People's Daily, Xinhua News, CCTV, China Radio International, China Daily, and China News Service. And the N is for other English language websites, platforms, and institutions that have the potential to perform international communication functions for the CCP. So, if we use this model to measure it, Newsbreak falls into the N category. N here means numerous. So, what are you thinking now after listening all the facts I just presented? Do you know what I thought when I first found out about these shocking facts and connections? Joe Biden recently said that Xi Jinping told him that China will own America in the next 10 to 15 years. So do you think that it is only a joke? How will the CCP own America? By buying over all the lands, or kill all the people in the US and send their people here? Well, maybe they would if only they could. But how about feeding Americans with CCP-controlled information and little by little changing people's thoughts, shaping their views and the way they look at things, and making them think exactly the same way as the CCP does? If the CCP can achieve that, they own America already, and with the least cost. So do you really know everything about the CCP ways and strategies? Why could Newsbreak become the #1 news app in the US within just 5 years? The other day I saw a sentence, "You don't know what you don't know." On the surface, this sounds silly. Of course I don't know what I don't know. But digging further, you will realize the terrifying reality about how others, including AI, are controlling what you know and what you don't know. So don't you think the CCP will own America a lot faster than with 45 million Americans using the Newsbreak app and being fed information by the CCP-controlled interest-based engine? I learned from a reader of the Epoch Times that when he bought a phone from T-Mobile, this app was already pre-installed. By the way, I'm now also contributing to the Epoch Times on a freelance basis. I'm glad to say that the article I co-authored about Newsbreak has been shared more than 3,000 times since it was published 2 days ago. A lot of people said they immediately uninstalled it after they read this article. So I hope you can also share this show as widely as you can. The article I wrote for the Epoch Times is a news piece, and I couldn't add any of my personal views in that article. But this show is my own, so I can freely express my thoughts here, which I believe are also very useful and important. So please do help us spread the message. This is not a joke. This is about who is going to own America. Well, that's all for today's Inconvenient Truths. Thank you so much for watching and for your time and for your support. Bye for now, and see you on Thursday.